Welcome to Viral Network News. I'm Hannah Bernard, and today I am joined by Frank Holmes, CEO and Chief Investment Strategist at U.S. Global Investors. Frank, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Well, 2014 was certainly a crazy ride for oil prices and the stock market. What was this last year like for gold, and how precious of a metal is it these days?
Well, gold has lots of negative sentiment for last year, and it was only down 2%. And what's really quite remarkable is that when you make gold as money, which it was the second best performing currency in the world because the dollar had ripped through the sky.
Why do you think it was down so little with all that negative sentiment?
Because the world recognizes this monetary spending that's taking place by the central bankers, and China continuing throughout the year to accumulate 2,000 tons of gold.
So, in your opinion, what are the biggest forces that we should look for with gold going into 2015 for the prices moving up or down?
I think we're going to start seeing, which we actually started in November, December, the significance of countries' currencies basically collapsing. The South African rand pretty well fell 40 some odd percent. And guess what? Goldfields jumped 40%. So Goldfields was a big cap, spectacular gold mining company that back 10 years ago had doubled in 1 year. So you're looking at a company that totally needs a weak currency to make any money. So gold is basically flat. All their expenses fell by 50%, widening profit margin. Stock all of a sudden starts to take off. I think you're going to see many of the Canadian gold mining companies, which are in Latin America, that are producing, will enjoy some of this benefit of the weak Latin American countries, like the Colombian peso. It fell almost 30% at one time, and it was down 20%.
So you are bullish on gold going into 2015?
I am, and I think you're going to see supply slow down from mines that are supposed to be coming on stream. I think you're going to see this continuance of printing money. Our theme this year is bad news is good news.
Yes, I like that. How does oil impact gold going into 2015? We've seen, it drop below $50 a barrel for the first time since 2009. What's that going to do for gold going forward?
Well, many of these companies, their biggest expense is basically oil. You go to West Africa, is diesel oil, and it's the euro. So with the euro getting weak, the price of oil collapsing, they have expanding profit margin. The whole operative word here, Hannah, is who has expanding profit margin and who is being wiped out. So U.S. gold producers are having it much more difficult because their costs are in U.S. dollars and they're not getting the benefit because the dollar's been on a tear. So I think that we will see many of the companies are going to start penciling down, looking at who will benefit from cheaper oil prices.
So for first-time investors, what are the biggest impacts that you think why people should be investing in gold? Is it those companies and the fall in oil prices?
Well, there's a long history, and I've written about it many, many times, that all investors should have an overall 10% weighting to gold as an asset class, 5% in gold coins, wafers, or gold jewelry. Good quality, inexpensive, good quality gold jewelry, and the other 5% in gold stocks. That 10% is key, and then each year investors to rebalance. Last year, you were just marginally off 2% in gold. You were off much more, 20% to 15% in gold stocks. And guess what? The market was up, you rebalanced, and now you're ripping away in a great market.
So have we hit the bottom in gold?
I think we've groped for a bottom. I don't know what other factor will be, but I think because this thesis on the bad news out of Europe, it is bad news. So what are they doing? Negative interest rates. They basically achieving the German currency at flat 10-year bonds. And you can buy gold stocks like Goldcorp with a dividend yield of almost 3%. Why would you buy a 10-year government bond in America to make 2.5% when I can buy a gold mining company like Goldcorp that pays monthly? a higher yield than when it's a 10-year government bond, I think that those companies are going to become much more appreciated.
You mentioned jewelry, and you spoke at Cambridge in July last year about the seasonal gold trade that started sometime in July and ends in the Chinese New Year in February. How did you see that season play out?
Well, the season is interesting. You really were so caught up with the oil falling and all the resource stocks falling that you missed that gold actually started to rally with the concerns. But gold being down modestly 2%, I was actually really impressed with that because the dollar was so strong. Mm-hmm. And historically, when you get such a strong dollar, gold would have been down 10%. And then when I do the conversion to in rand terms and Russian ruble terms and whatever country's currency, I was so impressed at year end seeing that gold as money was the second best currency of the world.
All right, so Frank, now looking to 2015, you're going to be at the Cambridge House Investment Conference here in Vancouver on January 18th and 19th. What are you going to be looking for on the floor there?
Well, I'm going to be looking for good junior companies that have conserved their cash, have cut back and have great footprint projects in safe domains, safe countries. And I'd like to use the expression that I like people that squeeze Lincoln until he screams. The American penny has Lincoln on it. And the idea of being exceedingly frugal and smart about it, I think it'll be key.
Wonderful. Well, Frank, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. We'll see you here in Vancouver in a few weeks at the Cambridge Show, and all the best in 2015.